consistency that I control. Other days it's therapy. As my husband lovingly told me a few months ago, it's where I found my personal form of stemming. Stemming. I didn't always know what that word meant, but I knew the feeling. How the repetitive motion of knitting and crocheting, it grounds me when the world gets too loud. It's how I thrive, especially in chaos. It's how for the past 10 years, I have been able to firmly plant myself in the eye of any storm and not completely fall apart. Before I am anything, I am Nick and Roman's mom. Nicholas laid the foundation for the mother his brother would need me to be. Nikki never needed this version of me. Now Roman Xavier? My Roro's favorite words were no and stop. And then at age 2, he stopped talking. His favorite color is blue, favorite Marvel character is Captain America, although his big brother did name him Bruce Banner. Every so often he would call him Drake because he does go from 0 to 100 really, really quickly. He's non-vocal, but he communicates with the most amazing facial expressions. Roman doesn't experience the world the way most people do. He hears and he feels everything deeper. His way of existing is its own language, one that I've had to become fluent in until this day I am still learning. I even took a sign language class trying to keep up with this kid, and he was not impressed. When you find yourself raising a child that doesn't fit the world's outdated version of normal, you yourself have to become something altogether different. I soon found myself in IEP meetings challenging their processes, at well-known autism centers where doctors were determined to talk around me instead of to me. And see, I get it now because they had only actually read about the life that we were living. I knew quickly if I wanted my son to thrive, I could not wait for anyone to come in and save us. I had to start with what I had, and what I had was my heart in my hands. Now, if you ask me today, I'm probably gonna flex a little bit and say that knitting and crocheting is my superpower. I probably can do it in my sleep. But it wasn't until I saw my baby struggling that I truly learned how to wield it. I started small, making textured items, soft things he could hold when his world got too loud. I always let him pick the colors because we do nothing for him without him. And they weren't perfect, they weren't fancy, but they were made with his mother's love. And it worked. Not all the time, but enough to give him peace. And it did the same thing for me. So at hospital stays, I knit. After meltdowns, I crochet. After crying in my closet for hours, I'd wipe my tears and then I'd go create. Because this wasn't just a hobby, and I was teaching myself a new truth, that my softness was strength, and that creating was gonna be my survival. And from that point on, we did not wait for the world to make room for us. We were two nervous systems trying to find balance, and we did through pattern and texture. If a place wasn't inclusive, I made it. If people didn't understand his needs, I tried to educate with kindness, but his mama's got a mean side eye and she knows how to use it. I made it a point not to change my son, but to have the world shift its lens. And slowly, more people started showing up. Teachers, other parents, all sharing their stories of feeling unseen and wishing that the world would create room for them. Roman's room. It became more than 4 walls. It became a sanctuary where Roman could unravel without breaking. Until the room did. Yes, my son, the hawk, ran through a wall. Because as we all know, peace ain't permanent. I had walked down that hallway days before, and I could feel the cracks beneath my fingers. It felt like a fault line. It was a fracture between the world that existed and the world that he needed, and it hit me hard. Our homes, our schools, even hospital waiting rooms are not made for people like Roman in mind. A few days later, he was admitted for a psychiatric evaluation. It was Christmas Eve 2020, in the middle of a pandemic, and it was his 16th birthday. That day, my journey changed, because I realized it wasn't just about Roman. It's about all the people who find themselves outside of the system and never see themselves reflected. It's about all of the people that are trying to make changes, and the world just doesn't bend. Yarn? You You see, yarn for me is more than just fiber. It is a reminder that stemming can be sacred, that safe spaces aren't just a luxury, but they will in fact become my legacy. Roman didn't run through that wall because he was broken. Nah, my baby is spirited and whole. He ran through the wall because the world was refusing to bend, and so now, his mama's gonna bend it, one stitch at a time. When we show up human and empathetic, we can make the future tangible and tactile. We can twist it and pull it right into the now. And if the world won't make room for us, then we'll make it for ourselves. We did. Roman's room. Last year became a sensory art exhibit where all behavior expressions are welcome. We got to see in real time how a ball of yarn can calm a storm, how showing up in community can transform isolation into power, and how really listening can change lives. I've learned not to separate my motherhood from my advocacy or my art. The same way I don't separate my hands from my heart, I show up with them. And so today, this is a full circle moment for me. One made with purpose and divine timing. 10 years ago, I produced my very first fashion show. The goal was simple, to buy iPads for Roman school. And here I am talking about him in the exact same building. I know that's not coincidence. It's alignment. It's what I know to be God engineering, and therefore I will stay this mission. I will continue to tell the story of love and yarn and how it transformed our lives. It became more than art, but tools for our inclusion and our liberation. And I'm gonna thank that Erky psychiatrist though. The one after the appointment we waited for 3 months for him to look at me and laugh and say, why don't you just build your son a safe space? That sarcasm planted a seed, and that seed was sown with his mother's tears. I will always thank my sister who said, are we building or no? And I will always thank the love that financed it when hope was in the negative. So today, I ask you, what are you holding back waiting to become? Who in your life is waiting for the world to make room for them? And what can you build today that will show them that they already belong? I am Nikki Harris, and I am raising